good evening, everybody, or whatever time it is in your time zone. You don't know who I am, but I know who you are. So yeah, lock your doors. And today I'm gonna be discussing on whether or not it is worth it to go to school, specifically any type of university, to go for a culinary degree. Personally, from what I've learned, I do not think it's worth it, and here's why. So while I don't want to say what college I went to, because I kind of want to keep that information to myself and I don't want it out to the public, from what I've seen between my friends and a lot of the people I went to college with, I estimated that the average cost of going for one of these degrees is between like $20,000, and some were even paying a hundred and even over $100,000. And obviously it depends on what your family is making and like what your financial status is. But this, if you're going to school to learn how to cut vegetables and stuff, no, do not. That is one red flag in this degree. Don't learn stupid stuff and pay a lot of money for it. You get that with experience. And this is a degree that, like, you're going to go into the field and you're going to go apply for your first job at maybe like a 5-star restaurant, right? You're going to be like, well, I went to college at blah, blah, blah. And, I've learned all these things. Great. You know how to tourne your potatoes, right? You know how to make a brunoise, and you can do all that. Okay. You've learned that. You got your knife cuts. Your chef is gonna, the chef of the restaurant is gonna be like, oh, well, you know all that stuff, but can you do it? Can you do it in a line cook setting? Can you tourne 3 pounds of potatoes in an hour? No, you're probably not going to be able to, because you got to learn this stuff over time, and paying to learn isn't really doing you justice, because you're paying to learn in like a 4-hour lab. Like, I've done labs where I've sat there and cut vegetables and have made stock in 4-6 hours. And yeah, that's great. Now I learned how to do it, but can I do it fast and efficient? That's one thing you got to make sure you're getting in this degree, which really isn't, it's not going to set you up for success. So I know I'm using Indeed for this, but I'm not going to go to every restaurant on the coast looking for their salaries and add them all up and divide them. Screw that. I would rather use this because it can at least give us a close enough estimate. So Indeed is showing up that, average line cook salary is $16, and you're going to notice that's not really a lot. I mean, fast food workers were fighting for $15. You're telling me you want to go to school for 4 years to make $1 more than a freaking McDonald's fry cook? Absolutely not. This is ridiculous. Nobody's going to want average, We want to shoot big. We want to go higher. So higher is like $21. And, I've known people who, they're going to be teachers and they're going to be, accountants. And these are all good degrees if you want, like, you want to get those like white collar jobs and stuff so you can, live comfortably. If you don't want to live comfortably, let me tell you something. Remember in high school when you were working, let's say you were working Taco Bell and you were doing track, and you were also going to school and you were balancing all that out? You're like, man, this kind of sucks. I have no time to myself, and also I'm broke as hell. Yeah, remember that? Yeah, well, this is what culinary industry is like. So yeah, you're gonna be sweating 12, 13. I've worked a 16-hour day. That was a 16-hour day. I know, that's mind-blowing. That's like three quarters of your day gone right there. And I'm not giving you my time 16 hours a day for bare minimum salary, almost bare minimum salary. This is like, don't settle for less, go for more. We want to see more. And even with, because I know you can go to the CIA, and I believe there it's either you choose culinary or you choose baking, and you get like a 2-year degree. From the people I've spoke with, that's what they've told me. And I could have went to that school because I got accepted. They probably accept everyone because they're like, ooh, jackpot. But yeah, I didn't go there just because of financial costs. It wasn't going to be worth my time or my money. So we're going off of salary.com. And even if you want to be a baker because you're like, oh, well, F the culinary, maybe I can make it in baking. Well, guess what? Baking, you're still scraping the bottom of the bowl. You're trying to make those funds. You're hustling. This is hustle culture. You're not going off. Your manager or your boss isn't going to be like, oh, you went to blah, blah, blah university? Oh, and you learned how to do all this? Oh, amazing. I'm going to start you off at $25. No. Because they're gonna hire the dude behind you who been working for maybe 20 years in the industry and you just got out of $400,000 in debt, you're making 15 bucks an hour, but they're gonna hire Jimmy Timmy who's got 10 years experience, and they're gonna be like, oh wow, you worked at these places and you stayed here for how long? Oh, these are really good. These are really good restaurants. I'll start you off at 23, $24 an hour, and that's just the name of the game. So it's one of those things where it's really like it goes off what you can bring to the table, not like what you know. It's what you can do. And even now, I'm actually quite curious. Let me check the salary.com. So yeah, even if you're gonna fuck, get out of here. So even if you're gonna be a chef, you're still like you're not making that much. I know like 50K is really good, right? That's like it's a lot of like it's more like higher end. It's not so much you're like in the middle, right? You're not struggling. You've got some money, you've got time to yourself. Not chef though, not chef boy. You'll have the money, but you're not going to have free time at all because you're going to have to be managing everybody. And this like money is just kind of like not worth it. It's not worth them. It's a big headache, this job. Like it's very mentally draining, and you're tired all the time. If you like to have a personal life, highly do not recommend these culinary degree. I don't recommend it at all. What I did is I went to school. I was originally going to do 2 years, get a culinary degree, then bounce. But my mom convinced me that she was like, oh, well, you should probably go for, the business administration side just so you have something to fall back on. And I can tell you one thing after that, getting the business administration, the bachelor's degree, I feel way more comfortable with going to jobs future on now because I don't just show them my resume and it's, oh well, I know how to stir fry and I know how to ramen noodles. I know how to manage, I know how to do Excel spreadsheets. Actually, I'm quite interested in this. Jesus Christ. Wow. So I know this isn't just me because a lot of my friends and other people I've worked with, I've heard their stories. If you're planning on working at a restaurant or a bakery and you just plan on being happy and jolly all the time, I can tell you from this much, I have heard the most like disgusting, just foul things, racism, sexism, like borderline like harassment. I've seen it, I've heard it, and it's not something you want to be like surround yourself with. It's a very toxic and mentally just draining environment. And if you want to put yourself, if you want to go through school, or not even through school, like you don't even have to go to school, you just like people who just work in these industries, they know like this is very just foul language. Like you hear the craziest things. So if you want to work 10 hours while you're just being bullied, it could be you could just be the victim, and you could just be getting bullied and just harassed by anybody. And that is just like you'll walk in the next day and they'll be like, oh hey Joe, how you doing? Yes, that's just, it's ridiculous.
You must be a cold soul. I don't get it.
I was adopted. I was sexually abused. I was gay in Mississippi. At the time that I was suicidal, I never talked about it. And I was very lucky that I had something inside me that called hope.
I want to affect a social change, especially within the restaurant industry, because it's the place I love to be.
We can start a conversation. It's going to help millions of people. Speak out to someone. Don't keep it a secret, because secrets breed pain and torture.
My team and I came together and organized an event called Hurt to bring food and beverage people together to just show that it's okay to not be okay.
In Sacramento, we've lost a bunch of people over the last year to suicide, and so we've started to have to talk about it among ourselves and brought 15 restaurant tours together. We're doing series of 8 hours.
Yeah, this one's hard because most of the time your chef is not going to care how you're feeling. They'll send you home. If you're like not in a good mood to work, they'll like send you home. they are not going to care. I can almost guarantee you this. It is a very like rarity you'll get a chef that's actually like decent. It's stressful, and it hurts sometimes. Sometimes you go home, you want to cry, and that's okay. But in reality, you're gonna have to go to work the next day, and maybe for the rest of your life. And with jobs like this, there's like, if you want something with like a benefits package, even that, like if you're planning on retiring, it's just not like I've seen people working, they're 60 years old, they're 70 years old. There's a guy at my job who I think he's like 74, and he's just still just working at the job because you don't have the money to put aside to retire, and it sucks, and that's kind of how it is. And there will be days where it's like it's 100 degrees outside. I've worked the summer days, and inside, like I've like checked on the thermometer. It'll be like 111 degrees inside the restaurant, and I'm not lying. I've had a 111 degree day one day, and you got to work in the work clothes, which would be long sleeve shirts, pants, apron, hat, and you're just like, it's bad, and you're just like dying there, and all you really care about is at that point is just yourself. You just care about, get me a glass of water, but the tickets still just keep coming. And when I left my first job to go back to school, I I'll just like, you hear a ticket, and it's almost kind of like a PTSD thing. Like you hear tickets in the window, you're like, oh my god, like, oh, not that life again. Like, oh, it's terrible. But obviously, like, I'm still in this industry, but I feel like I could be like, I want to let people know on what it's really like. I know there's probably thousands of videos on this type of thing, but I feel like another one's not going to hurt. And this is just me being honest, all in all, trying to, not trying to stop you from your goals, but I highly recommend that if you do plan on going in this industry, that you have something to fall back on. Like I said, like I went for business administration as well, so that's not like a complete fallback, but I don't just know knife cuts and how to cook. Like I know other things, so I can apply at other businesses with air conditioning. Amazing, right? Beautiful. We love to see it. I don't just have to go into the nastiest, grossest kitchen and get trench foot working a 4-hour shift because there's the floors are disgusting, and there's no ventilation, and there's no fan, and they got to keep the door open, and all the flies get in, and all the yellow tapes are packed with flies. It's nasty. Like, you don't want to work in that environment. It's mentally draining, and I really hope that, if you've made it to the end of this video, you can at least take some of my word as truth, because I know I use like the Indeed and stuff, but like, this is really what it's like. You're going to be sweating day in, day out, 6 days a week, 7 days a week, 24/7. You're going to be sweating those days, and you're going to be making bare minimum wage. This is a degree where you really got to put your time and effort into it. Otherwise, you're just gonna, you're probably just, like, sometimes I'm just like, oh, I hate myself. Why did I do this? Why didn't I follow in blah, blah, blah's footsteps? Why didn't I do their degree instead? And it's just like, there's so many things, but this is like where it is right now. I'm where I am. I'm happy, but if any of my words, help you in any ways, that makes me cheer me up. But yeah, so definitely do your research if you're still in high school, or if you're if you're already in the CIA, do your research before you actually complete your degree. Decide to go to college, start putting in applications, and yeah, I think that's all it for the video. So have a good one.